Hey, welcome back. If you've been following our series, you'll know that we've been exploring cognitive distortions, those mental patterns that can distort the perception and reality and really influence our emotions and actions. In our previous episodes, we've delved into overgeneralization, the mental filter, discounting the positive, jumping to conclusions, magnification, minimization, and emotional reasoning. We've also looked at should statements. We've covered a lot. Today, we're going to continue this enlightening journey by exploring another impactful distortion, labeling and mislabeling. Have you ever made the mistake and thought, I'm such a failure, or labeling someone based on a single action, like calling someone lazy because they're late? If so, you're not alone. I'm Chris Stafford, and today we're going to explore what labeling and mislabeling are, how they affect us, and the best methods to overcome them. So join me as we navigate these waters and uncover the hidden patterns that might be influencing how we see ourselves and others. Imagine each person in the world is a unique book filled with countless chapters of experiences, thoughts, emotions, and labeling someone or ourselves like is judging that entire book based on a single page or a paragraph. We reduce the complex individual to a simplistic and often negative terms. This brings us to labeling and mislabeling, a cognitive distortion where we assign a harsh blanket and label ourselves or others based on isolated incidents or behaviours. Instead of describing a specific action, we generalise it to the whole person. Dr. David Burns, the esteemed psychiatrist and author and bestseller of Feeling Good and Later Feeling Great, describes labelling as an extreme form of overgeneralisation, where we identify with our shortcomings, leading to feelings of inadequacy and misunderstanding. It's an easy one to do. Let me share a story to illustrate. I'd like you to meet Alex. Alex recently missed the deadline at work due to unexpected personal issues. Frustrated with himself, he thinks, I'm such a loser. I can't do anything right. This is labeling. Alex assigned a negative label to himself based on a single event. On the other side, we have Emma. Emma's friend, Sarah, cancels their plan at the last minute. Emma thinks, she's so inconsiderate. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. This is mislabeling. Emma assigns a negative label to Sarah without considering other factors. And in both cases, labeling reduces complex individuals to a single, often negative characteristic, ignoring the broader context. Labeling and mislabeling are like putting a name and tags on saying things, failure and jerk, and ignoring all the other qualities and experience that define a person. It's a way of thinking that can damage self-esteem and really harm relationships. And so how does this distortion impact us? By labeling ourselves negatively, we internalise the harsh judgments, leading to feelings of shame and hopelessness. And when we label others, we create barriers to understanding and compassion, often leading to conflict and isolation. But how do we peel off these harmful labels and see the fuller picture of ourselves and others? Dr. David Burns offers several effective strategies. Number one, identify the distortion and recognise when you're using labels. Pay attention to thoughts where you've assigned a fixed negative label to yourself or to someone else. 2, describe, don't judge. Focus on specific behaviours or situations rather than making general statements around character. So instead of saying, I'm a failure, consider, I didn't meet this deadline. Examine the evidence. Challenge the label by looking at the facts. Ask yourself, is this label accurate? Are there instances that contradict it? 4, consider alternative explanations. Reflect on other reasons why the event occurred for Emma, for example. Maybe she had an emergency or she wasn't feeling well. Practice self-compassion and empathy. Treat yourself and others with kindness. Acknowledge everyone makes mistakes and they have bad days. Let me share an analogy to deepen our understanding on this one. Imagine watching a movie and judging the entirety based on a single scene. Perhaps that scene was slow, maybe it was uninteresting, but it doesn't represent the entire film. By labeling the movie as boring or terrible and based on one part, then you miss out on the entire richness and the depth of the whole story. So similarly, labeling ourselves and others based on isolated incidents ignores the complexity and the full narrative of our lives. Let's return to Alex. If he applied these strategies, he might think, I missed the deadline, which is disappointing, but I've met all my other deadlines this year, so it doesn't define my overall performance. For Emma, considering the alternative explanations, reaching out to Sarah with empathy could preserve their friendship and actually promote understanding. Are you okay? Anything happen? Something I can help you with? Now let's engage in an exercise together. Think of a recent situation where you labelled yourself or someone else negatively. So write down the label that you used. So for example, I'm a failure, she's selfish, he's an idiot. Describe the specific behavioural, event without judgment, just the facts. I missed the deadline or he didn't return my call. Examine the evidence. Is this label accurate when considering the whole person? Are there examples that contradict this label? Well, they called last week. They've been, it's out of character. And what other factors might have contributed for the behaviour? You could reframe your thoughts with compassion and acknowledge the complexity of the person and the situation, which really, you could ask questions. By practicing this, you can begin to see yourself and others in a more balanced and accurate light. To remember, each person is a mosaic of experiences, traits, and emotions. And by reducing ourselves or others to a single negative label, then we overlook the richness of our humanity. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of labeling and mislabeling, another cognitive distortion that can limit our understanding and connections. By applying David Burns' techniques, identifying the distortion, describing rather than judging, examining the evidence, considering alternative explanations, and practicing self-compassion and empathy, we can remove those harmful labels and appreciate the full picture of ourselves and others. If this message resonates with you, please give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And together, as we continue to uncover our minds and how it shapes reality and learn strategies to cultivate a healthier, happier mindset. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, any feedback you have on these videos. Have you noticed yourself labeling or mislabeling? Have you worked to challenge these judgments? Share in the comments below, and your story could encourage others to see beyond the labels. And remember, we are all more than a single story or a moment. Embracing the fullness of our identities allows greater compassion, growth, and connection. So, until next time, take care, be kind to yourself and others, celebrate the unique and complex individual that you are. Bye for now, Chris out.